And thanks for staying with us. First up, Ghana has not reached any agreement with the International Monetary Fund on the parameters of any debt operation. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, making that clear at a press conference today after 3 days of negotiations with the fund. There have been speculations government may have to opt for debt restructuring to deal with Ghana's debt crisis. However, Mr. Ofori-Atta says both parties are still in the process of completing the debt sustainability analysis.
Having a sustainable debt path is a prerequisite for the IMF program. Therefore, the IMF, World Bank, and the Ghana team are currently undertaking a debt sustainability analysis to inform the program negotiations. In addition, the IMF and government team are working to update the medium-term macro-fiscal framework to inform IMF program design. Also, the government team and the IMF team are discussing policy measures and structural reforms, proposing an economic program aimed at addressing the economic challenges facing the country towards restoring and sustaining macroeconomic stability, fiscal and debt sustainability, as well as promoting durable and inclusive growth and social protection. Ladies and gentlemen, we simply have not reached any agreement with the fund on the parameters of any debt operation as we are in the process of completing the debt sustainability analysis. Government shall continue to actively engage all stakeholders in a clear and transparent manner as we seek to fast-track the IMF negotiation process. Ghana needs a viable domestic financial system to support its development program, especially in these 3 years of limited access to international capital markets. Therefore, everything must and will be done to protect our financial sector. And there must be room for a win-win conversation through extensive stakeholder engagement with both our domestic and external investors. Ghana has always had a collaborative approach with its partners, and we shall, I'm confident, come out of an historic arrangement.
Well, the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, hinted that all options are open for consideration, hence government will be engaging all stakeholders. He also announced the creation of a 5-member committee to carry out engagements as the government moves to protect the financial sector.
A 5-member committee consisting of prominent financial services professionals will lead extensive stakeholder engagement across all the key segments of the financial sector: banking, asset management, pensions, and insurance. The announcement of the committee members will be made in the coming days, and they will immediately get to work to engage key stakeholders in the financial services sector. Additional to ongoing engagements of civil society organizations, social partners, labor employers and faith-based organizations, academia, industry professionals, and the leadership of Parliament. We welcome all contributions to this great public debate, but we must be careful to build and not to tear down our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we will leverage on our strengths to rebuild the economy, focusing on our productive sectors. Initiatives such as the Youth Start program that will provide 1 million jobs over the next 3 years will support entrepreneurs with loans to build their capacity to create more jobs and realize the President's vision of a Ghana beyond aid and an entrepreneurial nation.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta engaging the press on day 3 of the negotiations with the IMF, saying that there is no indication of an agreement on debt restructuring. Well, senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Kwawu, joins us with some perspective on this. I guess the purpose of the press conference, was to calm speculation of debt restructuring. Did the finance minister effectively do that?
Yeah, I think the press briefing by the finance ministry this morning was in the right direction, because we were not getting update and information from the ministry. And so there has been a lot of speculations that are going on as to whether there will be the need for debt restructuring and the rest. IMF itself yesterday put it out there that they are yet to have the debt sustainability analysis, and then they will determine how much and then which type of debts will be affected, which areas will be affected before we continue. And so the confidence that we need from the ministry is what has been exhibited today, and we think the finance ministry have done a lot of good for the market, because the downgrade had affected confidence in the bond market, and therefore led to the loss of investment returns for those who have bought the bonds. But the briefing this morning by the finance minister is a step in the right direction.
Well, based on his presentation this morning, do you think the government wants to avoid debt restructuring because of its potential impact, especially on the financial sector?
Yeah, looking at what we have, and then from the IMF itself, it is not possible to go in for debt restructuring when you have not done the debt sustainability analysis. And then from the finance ministry itself, debt sustainability is a key factor in the agreement that they are going to enter with the IMF. And for that matter, it's too early for us now to be talking about debt restructuring, which might be imminent. But then government will also, IMF will not just stand up and say, okay, you don't want the restructuring, and for that matter, we should go ahead. It's what the data brings on board, and that is what IMF is going to work with.
Well, there are some who think, especially the ranking member on Parliament's Finance Committee, Kasiala Tufosen, who thinks that debt restructuring is unavoidable. You talk about debt sustainability analysis. So if not debt restructuring, what other options are available to the government?
As we talk about it now, the debt restructuring is something, once we are talking about sustainability, and other debts, as we have seen, have been added to it, is something that is imminent, that will come. And then it's better we condition our mind that that is the way to go. Because if we don't restructure our debt, well, we are still going to add more to it. How sustainable would that one be? And so it's something that it's a necessary evil that we are going to face, no matter what IMF is saying, and then the data might have spoken to that particular issue. And so it's good that we tell ourselves and accept that it is imminent, it will come in, because we don't have any other option, because the market is closed. We cannot go and raise funds from the market. We are not raising enough domestic revenue in order to shore up the difficulties that we are facing. The exchange rate is loosed. The inflation rate is high. The cost of living in the country, everybody, including the finance minister, knows that it's difficult. And so we have no option than to go that particular way.
And also this morning, an announcement of a 5-member committee supposed to engage several stakeholders on the IMF program. Amongst the work of the committee will be to discuss measures of protecting the financial system. I'm just wondering, I want your take on that, and wondering if it's not too late to have this committee set up at this time. Wouldn't it further be a drag?
I'm not too sure it is too late. Not too late, because we need this public engagement to gather a lot of information from the general public and from other stakeholders that will foster the relationship between IMF team and then the Ghana team that will be negotiating this particular deal. And so this 5-member committee that will look at the financial service providers in the country, especially the pensions, the insurance, the banking, the investment aspect, and all those things is a step in the right direction, and I commend the government for going that particular way. These are some of the things that we need to be doing before we implement policies in the country. If a 5-member committee was set up to go around and engage stakeholders before the implementation of the e-levy, we would have been saying a different story today. And so let's do most of these things, and it will help us educate the populace on the things that are happening, and we would be able to say a different story altogether.
What would you describe would be a perfect deal for the country at the end of these negotiations? What do you expect?
We we might not get any perfect deal anywhere, but what I would want to see is that IMF giving us the loan that we require, and they put certain hard conditionalities on us, because our politicians, sometimes when it comes to political periods, are indisciplined in terms of expenditure. And for that matter, we would have some amount of control from the IMF team on how we spend our money. The fiscal discipline will be there, and giving us some amount of policy credibility in all that we do.
All right, Sarah Kwawu, thank you so much, Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. I appreciate your time with us this afternoon. Let's turn to other news. Ghana maintained its position of highest interest rates among 11 top sub-Saharan African countries tracked by Pan-African Bank, APSA, and Databank Research. According to the data, the country's 30.1 and 31.3% interest rates on the 91-day and 182-day Treasury bills, respectively, are also among the highest globally. Here's Charles Nixon-Well with this report.
In May this year, the Treasury bill rates were lower than 20%. However, the rates are likely to go up in the coming weeks to compensate investors for the rising inflation. The rates in the country are presently lower than the inflation rate of 33.9%. Indeed, the relentless pace of inflation has stretched real returns on short-term securities further down into negative territory. So if you have bought Treasury bill in recent times, the return on your investment is negative. This situation may compel the Bank of Ghana to increase its monetary policy rate from the current 17% to help mop up excess liquidity in circulation, though some analysts have argued that any such move may affect the real sector of the economy. Meanwhile, the rising interest rate in the Treasury market is expected to push federal government interest costs from the estimated 42 billion cedis.
You're watching The Marketplace on JoyNews. Next, a story we are receiving from the Bank of Ghana concerning those of us who owe money on mobile money platforms. Well, it has a statement. We want to show you that statement and read bits of that statement to you in a bit. We'll have that on your screen. But essentially, the central bank saying that if you are not registering your SIM card because you want to avoid paying back your loans, it is not going to work. We are going to ensure that you do so. And so we're going to show you that statement in a bit. You know that the SIM card registration is ending its deadline for the month of September. That is on the 30th of September, and more people still haven't registered their SIM card. So that's the statement on your screen. It says the attention of the Bank of Ghana has been drawn to some individuals. We lost that. We'll bring that right back to your screen. Individuals who have acquired loans through mobile money platforms but have deliberately refused to register their SIM cards under the ongoing national SIM card registration exercise with the intention of avoiding repayment of the acquired loans. Now, the Bank of Ghana wishes to inform the general public that data on all mobile money loan customers are domiciled in the databases of credit bureaus. As a result, failure to repay such loans will attract negative repercussions on borrowers' credit reports, history, and could subsequently adversely affect any chance of obtaining loan facilities from other financial institutions and credit providers in future. Borrowers who have discarded their SIM cards are advised to contact their telecom service providers or respective lenders to discuss repayment arrangements to avoid adverse information on their credit reports that could deny them access to future credit. So that's the central bank. They're warning you could be denied access to future credit if you do not pay back your loans on mobile money. And so you're not really going to get away with it if you are thinking of registering your SIM card. Next, the story of Ajua, a young entrepreneur leveraging information technology to create employment through her grocery delivery business. As food price hikes hit the country, James Ishen finds out how she is coping in this report.
Technological revolution has changed the face of lives of people, bringing healthcare, information and connectivity to even the most remote areas that were hitherto isolated. Entrepreneurship in any society is a sign of progress. The IT space in Ghana has been the bedrock for youth entrepreneurship and created a lot of opportunities for young Ghanaians. This was the story of young Ajua Agbugloshi, who started her grocery delivery business through her graphic designing research on the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology campus 8 years ago. People admire online grocery delivery service because of its simplicity and transparency. People decide what they order, where they order, how they pay, and when to deliver. There's no need to remember ingredients or to rush for last-minute grocery shopping. And that was the aim of Ajua Agbugloshi, to reach out to the corporate women who may not be able to go to the Agbugloshi market to purchase their foodstuff through social media.
So it all started as a graphic designer when I was doing a personal food packaging research about how to package our local foodstuff. And then I came across the words grocery delivery. I decided to research, find out more about it. And I realized it was a very booming industry out there and a very convenient service. But how do I adopt it to our way of life? So I followed up, read more, asked more questions, and then on campus.
Online grocery delivery service in Ghana is gaining its ground and reaching its peak. Entrepreneurs and young people are turning their eyeball towards this area because of its reach and revenue. Ajua visited the Agbugloshi market as early as 3 a.m. to get these foodstuff for packaging.
We go to the markets, mainly Agbugloshi, and do the shopping. When I started, I was doing it alone and I was working as well. So that was waking up around 3 a.m., doing all that before I go to work in the morning as well. But now I have a team. So my team, we have a team of shoppers. We go to the markets, do the shopping over there in bulk, bring them to our outlets, and then we do the packaging and deliver to customers. We have a team of 11, but we have the packaging team and the shopping team, about 6 of us.
Ajua is also creating employment opportunities for other young Ghanaians. With over 10 employees, how easy is she to come by their monthly salaries? The current hike in food prices is one thing that could be a setback for young entrepreneurs like Ajua, but she has a way of keeping up.
I mean, it was when this whole thing started, especially last year, it was confusing. I must say that we almost went down and we had to re-strategize. It's challenging, but as a business, you need to ask questions. If something is not going on well, what's the next move? We have expertise that are friends, that are customers. I don't hide myself. I don't keep things to myself. I ask, and I mean, we've been able to maintain and still stay in business because we pay our staff very well. When the pricing thing started, someone will order today, in 2 weeks time they order and the price is different. It was challenging. We had some very worse attacks, but communication is very important. We make sure that our customers know the prices, how things are going. We also, and we've been in business for 5 years. We have the credibility out there. People know. Even when you compare with our prices on the market retail wise, you realize that our prices are very good. So usually initially they were confused, but when they also went to the market and then they checked or they asked, they realized that no, Big Sam's prices are unbeatable.
With just an order on WhatsApp or any of the social media platforms, one can order a bundle from Big Sam's market.
So we get in touch with our customers through social media mainly. Our customers place their orders via WhatsApp. They send us a list of grocery items that they need. We send them a bill, they make payments, and we deliver the next day. Over here, we take our orders. So the orders come in via WhatsApp. We use the phone or the laptop to take the orders from WhatsApp and Instagram, Facebook, and then we prepare their bills for them. We add the delivery charges, and then we send it back to them. We have the MTN merchant numbers or other alternatives, bank accounts that you make payments to. So for us, we do general food stuff: yam, cassava, kobe, momone, kako, wele, smoked salmons, tuna. So the very local stuff, like the food stuff we use in our homes, that's what we deliver to people.
Talk to me about the packages. I know of bundle and others. I don't know. Just help me with that.
Okay. So you can customize your orders where someone says, I want tomatoes 10 cedis, 15 cedis. However, after some years in business, we realized that some particular things run out. Like they run out in all their orders. Like everyone will order tomatoes, onions, pepper, garden eggs. So we decided to come up with bundles. These bundles are so olonka tomatoes, olonka pepper, and we use the markup as 100 cedis so that people can buy it very easily. So we started last year for Ghana Weekend. Our first bundle was Ghana Weekend bundle. It was for Independence Day weekend.
Youth entrepreneurship has an impact on social as well as cultural and economic progress of the society.
As small businesses, if we had the means, if we had the finances, we would even do more than what we are doing now. For a business like Big Sounds, we don't have our personal truck. We don't have our own truck. So, and you know the cost of transportation now. Moving from even one market to another market can raise your transportation budget to another level. So what we do is we use the markets where we can access most of the things. There are instances where suppliers bring them to us as well. So the next step is to go to these villages. After we've gathered some resources, we have our own truck where we can easily move to these places. So that's something we are working on.
Interesting stuff what Ajua is doing. Well, next, let's talk tech. Henry Kobler of Eyes of Africa joins us on Zoom to talk about this interesting report. A new study, Henry, on Africa's creative and cultural industries finds that the youth admire creatives but won't spend on their work. Tell us a bit more about this finding. Can you hear me, Henry? Well, I'm going to try one more time, see if Henry can hear me. So, Henry, I just wanted you to tell us more about this new finding that, young Africans admire the work of creators here on the continent, but won't spend on their work. I'm told we have a very terrible connection to Henry, so we'll skip this segment and bring you some more news. Guinness Ghana Breweries PLC has engaged residents of Kasi in the Ashanti region with plastic waste collection or plastic collection challenge in a drive to reduce plastic pollution. The malt beverage company, in partnership with Premium Waste, a plastic recycling company, energized the community members to collect tons of plastic waste for recycling. Here's more in this report. All right, I'm told we have Henry on the phone. And so, Henry, I was just asking you about a new study on Africa's creative and cultural industries, showing that the youth admire creatives but won't spend on their work.
Thank you very much. So I think that the youth has really done a lot when you're looking, if you're looking at creative industries. A lot of people have taken in that initiative to be creating sketch videos, writing books, getting into digital art and all of that is one of those things that is really gotten high. If you're looking at the tech industry, a lot of people are building amazing mobile applications, web applications and all of that. And all of that basically comes into the art. And I think a lot of people have put in that innovation, that set up investment, and I think it's a growing part. It's a global phenomenon already because, the whole of last year into this year, one of the most talked about that people are sort of making a lot of money has been the cryptocurrency part, which is the NFTs, which a lot of people selling their digital art and sort of making money. People are in the music industry looking at creating amazing songs and then putting them up for tokens to sell. And I think that we've actually seen quite a lot of people make a lot of money from that aspect. I think that the African is making some level of effort, even though there are certain parts of art to be taken care of.
And so I want you to tell us a bit more, we just have 1 minute, on how the creatives can employ the use of technology to, promote their work.
Yeah, so I think that most has been social media. I mean, a lot of people are sort of jumped on social media, creating content for social media, that trying to make money off that side. Ones that have failed, I think, in that quest has been writing, looking at the literature part of it has really not been a good part. And even the people that sort of write, didn't write for African audiences. All
right, Henry Kobler, apologies we couldn't get you on Zoom, but hopefully we'll link up next week. That's The Marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Goodbye.